this is John Colo at DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. In this episode, basically I'm going to go over the Kuvings EVO820 Juicer and answer your guys' questions about the EVO820 as well as some common questions I get about juicers and juicing. This is the episode you guys have been waiting for. If you guys are looking to buy a juicer and you have questions, and I'm going to answer all the questions. So anyways, without further ado, let's get into this video. So the juicer I have today is the Kuvings EVO820. This is an exclusive model that we are now selling at Discount Juicers, and are the only retailer in the United States to be offering this model. And this is a special color. It's the EVO820 RG, or rose gold color. We have been selling the GM color, which is the gunmetal color, which is kind of like a dark kind of silver. And we also just started selling the CG model, the champagne gold color. Kuvings has all these amazing colors that might be good for people that are into, like, I don't know, being a little bit different instead of just your standard, you know, white, black, or red juicers, alright? So anyways, the first question I want to ask is, what comes with the juicer? So different juicers come with different kind of accessories. I'm glad to say that the Kuvings EVO820 has the widest range of accessories that actually are included with the juicer. And so let's find out what comes with your juicer by opening up the box and doing an unboxing right quick. So inside this machine, you're going to find a few things. Number one, the main juicer top set body right here. And let's see, I want to let you guys know that the spout cap, which is this part right here, will come separately. Also, the machine will not be assembled. I think basically the top set will come disassembled and this part will come separately, so don't be alarmed when it's not on the machine. Kuvings found that when it ships on the machine, it's more likely to be broken, so they ship it to you separately. Next, you're going to have the main juicer body, which is nice and heavy duty. This is known as our premium juicer. This is a nice rose gold color, so I kind of like it. It's kind of like a pastel, kind of pinkish, but it's pinkish purple. And then it also has like the leather grain feel, although no animals were harmed in making this juicer. This juicer is vegan as far as I'm aware, if that is important to you. Those are the two main components. Then we have all these accessory components. Of course, we have the smoothie strainer, which is a unique part I'll be discussing in a little bit. You have the sorbet attachment included also. This allows you to basically process frozen fruits into sorbets, so you can get rid of ice cream in your diet. This is definitely healthier. You also have the pusher. The only thing you should ever put in the juicer is the pusher or the fruits and vegetables. Never stick anything else into the juicer. It can break the juicer. Of course, we also have the two collection cups. You have one smaller cup marked up to 1,000 milliliters with a little spout on it for collecting the juice, and then a larger collection container for the pulp as it comes out of the machine. Next, you have a few cleaning brushes. So you have the specialized screen cleaning tool. This is patented by Kuvings. You won't find this anywhere else unless they are breaking the patent. This will allow you to clean the juicer much faster because the Kuvings screen can get impacted with pulp. So you get that special screen cleaning tool. It's going to save you time. How that works is take the screen, put it around, run it back and forth, and cleans your screen with, let's see, not 3 but 6 brushes quickly. Most juicers only come with this cleaning brush, an oversized toothbrush that you need to scrub the screen all the way around with one brush, and then I recommend doing it on the outside and the inside. Right when you're done juicing, use soap and water on your brush for best results. You also get another cleaning brush, which is like a bottle style brush that is useful for cleaning the juicing spout and the pulp ejection spout after using the juicer actually. So 3 brushes, more than any other manufacturer that I'm aware of. In addition, you have a sieve that goes on top of the pulp collection cup there, so that you can remove the excess pulp out of your juice. The Kuvings does make a moderate amount of pulp compared to many other juicers, and in general, slow juicers produce more pulp than a high-speed machine, which you may be coming from. There are many reasons why I only juice in slow juicers now instead of high-speed machines. One is because of documented, scientific, proven research that shows laboratory animals, which I do not agree with testing on laboratory animals, did not get results when they used a high-speed juice compared to a slow juice, probably due to the beneficial compounds found in the skins and the seeds that a slow juicer were able to extract, but a high-speed juicer does not. All right. And then also you have a special tool here included. This is a special removal tool for the top to get the top apart when you're done juicing. Kuvings is the only manufacturer having this tool, which I appreciate a lot. This tool should not be used every time, but only should be used in emergencies. Should you not be able to get your juicer apart. Normally you do not need this tool to disassemble the juicer if you're using the juicer properly and that you're using the proper technique to get the juicer apart, which I will explain later in the video. And then finally you have a collection of paperwork in the box, including warranty. So you have a special, in the EVO you get this special attachment, which is actually pasted on the outside of the shipping box. It says, important instruction included. So I don't know if it should be maybe important instructions included, maybe on the English. And so basically, this talks about the different juicing strainer that comes included and assembled inside the machine. The smoothie strainer, which is the gray one, and then the blank strainer. And this talks about how to use a smoothie strainer properly, right? Although this does make smoothies, I encourage you and would recommend a vacuum blender such as the Kuvings vacuum blender to make smoothies. This makes smoothies in a different way than most people would make smoothies, and so it may be unfamiliar with most people how to make smoothies in this, which I will cover in a little bit. And that's pretty much all that's in the box there. That's what you're going to get with the machine. So you get plenty of things. Oh, and now here's something that's actually optional that we do offer at Discount Juicers. And if you guys enjoy my videos, I want to encourage you guys to support me and my work by making your purchase at discountjuicers.com. This allows me to continue to make these independent videos, independent from any manufacturer, to tell you guys the truth about juicing. Nobody else, in my opinion, is doing this to this extent and level that I do. I represent many different manufacturers and will compare different brand juicers against one another so that you could find the right juicer for you. Every juicer has its own pros and cons, and I definitely have my favorites, but each juicer may be better or worse for certain people depending on what you want to do, your specific needs, what you're juicing specifically. And that's where my videos can help you out more so than just a seller selling the juicers that aren't going to give you any expert advice, or even more important than expert advice is show you guys so you guys could research yourself and become empowered consumers, because I believe empowered consumers are the best consumers because they can make their own proper decisions by having the right and accurate information. And sometimes, especially if you're trying to just buy a juicer on some major brand websites and these juicers from China, some of the advertisers, in my opinion, misrepresent juicers, misrepresent their juicers and say things that aren't necessarily true or things that they shouldn't even be saying. In my personal opinion, if you want to learn more about this, check the link down below. So a video I recently made where I talk about buying inexpensive juicers from China. Now I do want to let you guys know that Kuvings owns the patent on the wide 3-inch feed chute slow juicer. So if you see juicers like this on different websites selling for a lot less than the Kuvings, know this. The company is more than likely, and I'm not a lawyer here, infringing on Kuvings wide mouth patent, and Kuvings can choose to sue them, make them stop selling their juicers, and then you'll have no support for the juicer. In addition, the Kuvings juicers are made in South Korea that produces the highest quality juicers in the world that I'm aware of. And most of the other juicers that look like this are coming out of China, and they're basically a knockoff of this, in my personal opinion, alright? And yeah, if you support me, I'll be able to continue to make these videos. Also, I'm able to support you after the sale by answering your juicer questions, and more importantly, being your liaison between you and the manufacturer should you need warranty support. When I talk, the juicer manufacturers that I work with, they listen. They want to ensure my customers are happy because they want to keep me happy because they know I make videos and I tell the truth. And I don't care if I have a bad situation with the manufacturer. I'm going to share with you guys. I recently made a video on why I wouldn't recommend a certain brand juicer or a certain model juicer from a certain company at this time because of some challenges I had. And like most people aren't going to say that, but for me, what's most important is to be honest and just tell it like it is and let you guys make a decision, and an informed decision, what you want to do based on what's going on in the industry. And unfortunately, this is usually not talked about. So your support allows me to continue to do this. And also I do have a price match policy where I'll price match the delivered price on any other authorized retailer that sells the same exact product that we do at Discount Juicers. But I would hope that you would support me at full price so I can continue my mission to educate people about the power of fruits and vegetables, about the powers of juicing, and some of the different appliances that allow you to get more fruits and vegetables in you. So your support is much appreciated. I want to thank you guys in advance for those of you guys who will support me, and I want to thank you guys who have purchased from me in the past. It is much appreciated. Alright, so the only optional accessory for the EVO820, and not many juicers have this accessory, this is actually a citrus juicing attachment. And to be honest with you, I think I maybe only used this thing like once myself. And it allows you to basically easily juice citrus. So this basically just goes on top of the machine. You got to line up the back here. And then you basically turns in your juicer, your expensive juicer, into basically a citrus reamer that you could basically put oranges on and simply and quickly juice oranges if you just want a quick orange juice. That being said, this attachment is totally not needed because you can juice oranges that have been peeled in the juicer as it sits. So on one level this is kind of redundant, but on another level it's also more fast, easy, and convenient if you just want to crank out some OJ or other citrus juice without getting out the whole machine. I just thought that I don't have a video comparing this attachment to using the juicer as a juicer juicing oranges, juicing the same exact quantities. So be sure to click the subscribe button because I will be making that video soon. So this is an optional attachment, not included, but everything else I showed is included with the machine. Before you use the machine, I do encourage you guys to wash it, which I've actually already done. And so next, let's go ahead and get set up for juicing, share with you guys what I'm going to be juicing today, and answer more juicing questions. Now we're back, and I got my produce here. I'm going to juice some carrots, cucumbers, apples, lime, and beet today in the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Premium, the EVO820 RG Rose Gold, exclusively at Discount Juicers, the only retailer in the US at present time when this video is being filmed that is selling this specific color. I definitely like it a lot more than the gunmetal that's a lot darker, although if you're a girl you probably want to go with this, and if you're a guy you probably want the gunmetal, man. It looks maybe a bit tougher. Alright, anyways, I want to show you guys this little part here. This is a spout cap, how it goes on. The hinge is at the top. There's a little indentation that has to go into the keyway right here, and it just basically pushes on and in place, and you're set, ready to go. This allows you to basically keep the juice into the bowl and do mixing inside the bowl. I do not recommend this when juicing. Why? Well, if your juice is swimming in the bowl and you're not allowing it to come out, it does mix, which can be a good thing, but it's a bad thing because your pulp, I've noticed, comes out a little bit more wet because the juice is spinning around in the bowl with the pulp at the same time. So I encourage you guys always to leave this up when juicing, and you could close it when you're done juicing so you don't get drips on your countertop, so you have an easier cleaning time. That being said, if you are making a smoothie with this attachment, you will need to use this closed. You're going to have the smoothie strainer inside the machine assembled, and it allows you to basically make 2 cups of smoothie in here at a time with a low speed grinding motion. This will remove some of the large particulate and fiber out of the smoothie and give you kind of a more of a maybe watered down smoothie than using like a vacuum blender. It does do a sufficient job at doing this, but if your main goal is to make smoothies, I personally wouldn't recommend a juicer with the smoothie attachment. I would recommend a vacuum blender such as the Kuvings SV500, their vacuum blender. I have a video on that. If I remember, I'll post a link down below so you can check that out. Although it is a nice feature to have to change textures, but know this has very specific usage instructions that is included with the machine, and you must follow those directions properly or it will not work, and the smoothie texture will be different than what you're used to in a blender because this is not a blender, it's a juicer modified to do smoothies. Alright, I guess the next question I want to ask is, John, why would you juice all this produce, man? Is juicing healthy for you? So here's my honest answer. My honest answer is if you would normally eat this much produce, then it's probably good to eat the produce if you have a good microbiome and you have a good digestive system and you're chewing each mouthful into a mush. The challenge arises that most Americans unfortunately don't even eat this much fruits and vegetables in a day, and if they are, they're not chewing it into a mush to get proper digestion. That's why we feed babies baby food, because they don't have teeth. They need to have things almost pre-digested, right? We can't absorb, the carotenoids out of the carrots when they're in their whole raw form, especially if we're not chewing it well. If we take 2 chews, swallow, and we see things coming out the other end when we're going to the bathroom, like whole pieces and chunks of produce and lettuce leaves and all these things, that would indicate to me that your digestive system is not working properly. Although please consult your physician, because I'm not a doctor, if you have things going on that you're not aware of, right? So for that reason, that's why I like juicing. Literally, when I juice all this produce, and I don't even know how much this is, I'm going to estimate this is going to make less than 32 ounces of juice, thereby giving me the nutrition out of all this produce that most people just simply don't eat anyways. Fruits and vegetables are the most nutritious foods on the entire planet, and everybody watching this would be good to eat more of them. My diet consists of predominantly fruits and vegetables now for the last 25 years, and I've been doing this straight. I know it works. I mean, you could take a look at some of my videos from like 10 years ago. I mean, yes, I age like everybody else, but I'm aging a lot slower because of all the carotenoids and antioxidants and polyphenols and beneficial fiber in the juices that I'm drinking. And I know you're thinking, John, wait, juicing it removes the fiber. Well, let's talk about that once we get juicing. So let's start. Oh, before I even start this, I want to share with you guys another question I get is, John, how loud is that juicer? You may have had a high-speed machine, and those guys are really loud. They run in excess of 10,000 revolutions per minute. This machine is a slow juicer, so it runs at under 80 revolutions per minute. It's quite low and slow, and it's a lot quieter. So if you're trying to juice in the morning when you have kids asleep, your wife or husband's asleep, your boyfriend, girlfriend's asleep, or your roommates are asleep, right? You can get by with juicing because you're not going to wake them up unless you have, rice paper thin walls. So let's go ahead and at normal everyday background levels, my decibel meter is reading at 32. When I'm talking, it's like up at 80 because I'm a quite loud person. And let's turn the machine on and I'll be quiet for a second. So I'm reading just about at 70 decibels, so that's how loud the machine is. Quieter than somebody talking, but louder than obviously nobody doing anything, all right? So yeah, these are really slow juicers and I like them a lot. They're easier on the ears, and based on my research, these guys extract and pull out more nutrition than the high-speed machines because they will basically better grind up the skin and the seeds of the different produce items than a high-speed machine would. Also, these machines are a lot more efficient on something like leafy greens that are critical to be getting into us because they are actually the healthiest foods on the planet, the leafy green vegetables that most people unfortunately do not eat enough of. And this makes eating leafy greens really simple and easy because you could put a pound of leafy greens in here and get literally 8 ounces or 1 cup of juice. So you're basically getting the nutrition out of 1 pound of greens that most people would never even think about eating in a salad, in a simple and quick to drink juice. Alright, let's get ready to juice. While they do give you plastic containers to catch the pulp in, I do like to use a glass collection cup, and I find this one works really great. It's an 8 cup or 2 quart measuring cup from Anchor Hocking, and then I have like a nice sieve here that I could put underneath the juicer to basically sieve out all the excess pulp. Now, this juicer does put some pulp in the juice, which would be considered the insoluble fiber that goes into the juice, which some people may consider to be a good thing. This is why they say blending is better than juicing, because it's keeping the fiber, or all the fiber. And the thing about that is a blender can massively destroy the antioxidants and the oxidation sensitive polyphenols, for example. And for that reason, I'm not a big fan, although you may be keeping more fiber, right? So blending, like juicing, has its pros and cons. You have to decide what is most important for you, right? For most people that are on their healing journey that want to get well, I mean, they have a therapy called the Gerson therapy, and they recommend juices, not smoothies, because they know the fiber impedes nutrient absorption and can impede the cleansing and healing process of the body. Plus, you want to just flood your body with high nutrition. You want to do it in a juicer because that's going to basically extract out more of those beneficial antioxidants, polyphenols, the different colors like the lycopenes and the anthocyanins in the different produce items you are consuming, and you're going to retain a lot higher levels of them in a slow juicer than, say, a blender ever would. So without further ado, let's go ahead and show you guys how easy it is to use the Kuvings. One of the main reasons why I like the Kuvings, and it's actually one of our best-selling juicers at Discount Juice. I think over the weekend we sold like 6 machines of the Kuvings because people love these guys because of that wide feed chute. This allows you, in some cases, to just put in a whole pieces of produce. Like, I mean, I cut off the edges of the carrots, the tops and the bottoms. I mean, I cut off the top of the beet, but everything else is whole. I'm not have to dice it up into small pieces when juicing certain items such as the carrots, the cucumber, the lime, the beets, and the apples. Other items such as leafy green vegetables, such as celery, and even ginger should be pre-cut when you put it into any vertical slow juicer, in my opinion, and that's what I teach to you guys so you guys have the best experience. If you put uncut leafy greens such as kale or collard greens with nice long stems, or celery that's unpre-cut in the machine, despite it having a large feed chute, it will clog up and jam and give you many issues. I want you guys to be informed consumers and juice the right way, and that's why I make many videos. So I'll put a link down below to a video I made called Juice Like a Pro in Any Vertical Slow Juicer, and that will show you guys how to properly pre-cut your things like celery and leafy greens and juice it properly. I also have another video, put a link down below if I remember, how to juice celery in a vertical juicer. Despite having a wide feed chute, this machine you also will need to pre-cut your celery. If you want to get away from pre-cutting, you could juice things like this, as well as something like baby spinach or baby, spring mix. You could get at Costco or Sam's Club organic for pretty cheap, and just basically put handfuls of that while you're rotating this, because the baby greens don't have all the thick fibrous strings and strands that like an old mature kale would. You can get away without pre-cutting that kind of stuff. But today I'm just going to juice these guys whole, because on the other hand, Kuvings also has done some research showing that if you juice things whole, instead of pre-cutting them and them juicing, you're going to have a little bit higher nutritional quality or nutrition in the finished product. Now this is definitely splitting hairs or splitting straws, or a very insignificant difference in my opinion, but it is a difference nonetheless. So the Kuvings will make a higher nutrition content because you're just simply not pre-cutting and exposing things to air, that much, more than other style machines. So without further ado, let's go ahead and turn this machine on and let's get juicing. Now we're going to juice a whole apple and drop it in. That's why I like the Kuvings. Take that whole apple right in the trapdoor, and as you guys can see, we got juice coming out here, and we got a little bit of juice coming out here, and then we're going to have the pulp sliding out. If juice comes out right at the beginning, that's completely normal. It's complete fine. Don't worry about it. Now I know you might be thinking, John, you just put a whole apple in there, man. Like, apple seeds, they have toxic glycosides, also known as cyanide. And so the question is, can you juice apple seeds? So me personally, I don't have a problem juicing apple seeds, right? And the question is, the dose is in the poison, right? If you ate an apple whole and swallowed the seeds whole, you probably wouldn't get poisoned, although please consult your doctor or medical physician, because the apple seeds will basically go right through us and will come out the other end whole, and we won't be able to digest it. That being said, if you crush the apple seeds like we are doing in the juicer, you will get some of those compounds into your juice, right? And here's the thing, for an average adult person, it would take you about 30 apples of basically apple seeds juiced straight and just drunk straight to potentially cause poisoning or some kind of issue. So here's the thing, if you're just juicing 1 or 2 apples a day, I personally don't feel that's risky behavior, and I would do it. I think you probably have a bigger chance of getting in an automobile accident personally. And the other thing is that on one hand, other fruits such as apricots and peaches and cherries also have these toxins in the pits as well. And on one level, they sell basically apricot pits or apricot kernels as an anti-cancer prevention kind of like holistic healing thing. Now, I'm not going to say that's true or not, but here's the thing, you know, a little bit of toxins in our bodies, such as from the apple seeds, in my opinion, may be a good thing. Of course, you guys need to do your own research. You know, that being said, one day I did juice over 30 apples in the Kuvings juicer, link below for that video, using their commercial model. And I did not drink all that juice at once, because drinking the juice of 30 apples is too much juice to drink, number one. And it took me a while to drink all the juice and consume it all. And so I personally don't think that's an issue. The other thing that's very important when juicing is to rotate the produce items you're putting in. So we just put in the apple, the carrot, now we're going to go ahead and put that lime in. Juices it right up. Wow, look at that. It just popped it right up. No problem. The juicer basically is just grinding it up and spitting out the lime juice. I do like to encourage you guys to juice limes and lemons to kind of give your juice some extra antioxidant power and to, you know, citric acid to preserve the juice more effectively. Next, we're going to go ahead and put that beet in, and if the chute at the top doesn't work, you can open up this little trap door by unlocking it, and then you just drop the whole beet in, and it'll just take the beet and grind it all up simply and easily. That's where I really like the Kuvings. Now, the other thing is, on the apples, you should remove the apple stems. The apple stems may clog up the juicer. Next, let's go ahead and put in another apple, and it's getting juiced right up. And let's see, the other thing is, you don't want to put things too fast in the juicer, right? Kuvings has made this top kind of like see-through. It's a smoke color, so you can kind of see what's going on in there, right? If you put a produce item into the juicer and you see it's still in the feed chute, don't just, oh, I can put another one in, it's got a large feed chute, I can put another one in, I can put another one in. Look, when you put things in too fast in the juicer, what happens? You're overloading the juicer, it stops on you. This is not a big deal, but your goal is to not get the juicer to stop on you, so you only want to put in one thing at a time. If the juicer should stop like this, you can hit the reverse button. Reverse it up for a little bit, let some of the material back out and turn it back on, and then it'll continue to juice. And you might have to do this a few times because you are feeding things in too quickly, right? So my approach when juicing in any vertical juicer is to put one item in the machine, let it process completely. How can you tell if it's done processing? Use your ears. You can listen to see if it's crunching up stuff, if it's crunching up the produce. Like right now it's not crunching up anything. So now we could go ahead and take you know, a piece of this cucumber that we're just going to break off and just drop it in there. Maybe we'll drop that through the little center hole and let that process. And listen, you hear it grinding and crunching up the cucumber right now, right? Don't put anything in until you hear it stop grinding, right? Any slow juicer, if you start feeding things in too quickly, it can give you issues, right? And I don't want that to happen to you guys. I want you guys to do things slow and moderate. When you put in carrots, I like to feed them the small end down, because that kind of like lets the juicer work on the smaller pieces before it gets the big chunks, which then it just totally will power through. Now, the other thing I want to talk about while I'm still juicing is the fiber. John, you're juicing the apples, man. Fruit juice is bad. There's all these studies that say fruit juice is bad. Well, number one, check my link down below for 4 reasons why fruit juice is not as bad as you think. A video I made discussing some of the science about juicing fruits that's out there. The next thing is, you know, many people are misinformed and think that when you juice, you remove all the fiber. This is completely false, right? When you juice, you're removing some of the fiber. As you guys can see here, we have a whole collection of fiber here. And this is mostly the insoluble fiber. It's the solid fiber. The insoluble fiber is a fiber that makes you shoot bullets, that keeps our intestines clean, that helps act like a broom to keep our intestines clean, that you may have heard about. So when people think fiber, they think this fiber. But this fiber is actually not the most beneficial fiber for us, in my personal opinion, right? The most beneficial fiber is actually still in the juice. It is called soluble fiber because it is soluble in water. Soluble means dissolves in water. So you're still getting the soluble fiber in the juice when you're juicing and removing some of the excess insoluble fiber, right? And the reason why the soluble fiber, in my opinion, is more beneficial than the insoluble fiber is because the soluble fiber is fermentable by your beneficial bacteria or your microbiome, right? Your probiotics inside your gut. They eat the soluble fiber, but not the insoluble fiber. This insoluble fiber, yes, acts as roughage. We definitely need that. I do not recommend living on only juices for any length of time other than a shorter juice fast. But I think it can be a beneficial component of a healthy diet, you know, where you're eating fiber other parts of the day. So for example, you know, I drink two main juices a day, about 64 ounces, and then I eat a big salad or a big vegetable soup, and then I have like some fruit, which has plenty of fiber. I get over 100 grams of fiber in a day approximately, or that's my goal, and I usually hit that, or usually hit pretty close. And most Americans eat less than 10 to 15 grams of fiber, which is dismal because they're eating processed foods, right? So even juices, this juice here that I just made has more fiber than a hamburger from McDonald's or any other hamburger you'd probably buy. Meat has no fiber. Dairy foods has no fiber, right? Cheese, eggs have no fiber. Only the plant foods and you know, things that are not from animals, such as mushrooms, have the fiber in it. All right. So the other thing that's important when juicing is to rotate the item. So we're going to go ahead and put a cucumber in, since we put maybe a carrot in last. Now the other thing I want you guys to be aware of is when your pulp is coming out, this nice little stream that you guys see moving. You know, I have a nice fat, wide pulp stream. Sometimes the pulp stream is not that wide. That is because sometimes the pulp outlet, as it's making a right angle turn to come out, some of it gets blocked. This is completely normal. It's completely alright. It's okay if that happens, as long as you have pulp free flowing out of the machine, even if it's only half as much as this big nice fatty that I got. It's alright, let me tell you guys. And if you guys want to increase the size of your pulp stream, like you want to increase the size of the pulp coming out of you when you're going to the bathroom, eat more fiber or have more hard crunchy vegetables. So, you know, if your pulp stream's not doing pretty good, put a carrot in. So I mean, this is kind of like a learning and growing experience. And if you put a carrot in, that generally will clean out the passageways in the juicer, allow the juicer to kind of unclog itself if you've been juicing softer things, and it's going to work a lot better for you. All right, let's go ahead and put in more of this cucumber right there. And we're going to go ahead and break this carrot in half and let those process while I answer a few more of your questions. All right, we're almost done juicing the Kuvings EVO820, this cold press juicer. And actually now I want to talk about cold press juice. What is a cold press juicer? So a cold press juicer is a juicer that basically grinds up and presses out the juice. You know, the original cold press juicer is like a Norwalk style juicer that has a triturator or a grinder, and then basically a hydraulic press that presses out the produce, right? Those machines can be very expensive. They're also quite large, cumbersome, and you know, it can be a messy process, frankly. So I like this machine. You put the produce in, it literally grinds it up with the auger, and as it's grinding it up, the juice is released, and the juice is literally pressed through the juicing screen, which is stainless steel, and the juice comes out. So this is a one-step operation. It's much more efficient, you know, time efficient, definitely, although not efficient in terms of yield, because the true hydraulic pressing juicer will yield more than this, of course. Although I would argue that this style machine is highly more likely to get out more of the different phytonutrients and phytochemicals, antioxidants, than a high-speed pressing juicer would, due to some of the oxidative damage, and because some of the nutrients are being left in with the pulp, because the pulp has to go through a cloth, and it doesn't have nice larger holes like this to allow more of the nutrients through, because some of the nutrients still may be attached to some fiber that's not getting through the cloth bag. And it looks like we're done juicing here. And the other thing I want to discuss is, John, is this a masticating juicer? So many different juicer sellers online will call all slow juicers, which this juicer is, a masticating juicer. What does masticate mean? Masticate means to chew. And the original masticating juicer is called the Champion juicer. And back in the day, maybe before some of you guys were born, they had the Norwalk juicer, which is a hydraulic press style grinding and pressing juicer. They had a high-speed juicer, which is a centrifugal or centrifugal ejection juicer. And then they had the masticating juicer, the Champion juicer. And these are the terms that were used in the juicer industry. And when the slow juicers came out, there was no term for this. So they just used masticating juicer because this is kind of like a champion juicer, but it's not, because it doesn't really chew, it doesn't have teeth. It's more of a grinding and slowing slow juicer and a grinding and pressing slow juicer. And so it's a slow juicer. So that's what I define this as. People may call it masticating. I don't like that. I don't like clumping this in with masticating, because to me, masticating juicers are inferior to this juicer, because a true masticating like the champion runs at higher speed, generates heat when juicing, can lower nutrition in the juices, and it's not as effective on something like leafy greens, and even gets stuck on celery, strings that gets wrapped around the blade on the champion. So, I like this machine much better. So we're all done juicing. Let's go ahead and close our spout cap and remove this here, and we're going to go ahead and shake down our little sieve here, and we're going to get all the juice out. Now, if you do want to have some of the excess insoluble fiber, you could just not use a sieve, and you would basically have this in your juice, which is kind of nice. There may be additional nutrients in there. When I'm drinking my juice, I would much rather have it like free of all the fiber, and this is a personal preference. Technically, I'm going to tell you guys that probably it's better to drink it with the pulp in there than without it, because it's probably healthier. That being said, I'm a more juicer purist, and I don't like my fiber with that. And instead of adding this fiber, if you did want to add some extra fiber in it, I would actually encourage you guys to maybe add some flax, fresh ground flaxseed meal, which is more beneficial fiber in my opinion than the fiber from the juice pulp, which I generally remove. And this is how much it would have created. And we'll put that off to the side there. And we're going to pour you guys this nice fresh juice. Look at that nice juice, right? I really like to get the beets in there. Nice pretty red, orange color. Cucumbers add nice water content. Apples, of course, good for a little sweetness. Wow. I think that is a juice everyone will enjoy. Now I want to give you guys some tips here. So number one thing I want to talk about is, John, when I'm juicing, why does some pulp come out more wet than others? So, if you pick up this pulp here, the carrot pulp, you can squeeze it, it's fairly dry, but if you come around to where that cucumber pulp is, it's a fair bit wetter, and actually I could maybe even squeeze a drip out here. Something like pineapple pulp also, if you're just doing straight pineapples, will also be more wet, right? And so here's the thing, every different texture will work differently in different juicers. Some juicers are more effective at juicing certain textures of food. So for example, carrot is a nice hard root vegetable, whereas a pineapple is a nice juicy fruit, or cucumbers are more of a juicier fruit. And the juicier the fruit is, the harder time a slow juicer could have at extracting the juice out of it, and consequently your pulp will be a little bit more wet, right? There are ways to better deal with these softer fruits when juicing them to get a higher yield in the get-go, and my tip for that is juice them with something like a hard root vegetable. So for example, if you're going to juice pineapple, put a little piece of pineapple in the juicer, and then follow it by a piece of equivalent size of a carrot, right? Because you're pushing the carrot in behind the pineapple, the carrot kind of gets in to kind of help that pineapple get smushed out and get more juice out of it, so that in the end the pineapple pulp coming out will be a little bit more drier than it would if you just did straight pineapple, right? If you don't want to add carrots to your pineapple, add something like peeled jicama, little pieces of peeled jicama. Jicama is an amazing vegetable, rich in prebiotic fibers. That's really good for us, that we are getting when we are juicing it. And it actually has a very mild flavor. It's also very inexpensive depending on where you live. Go to a Hispanic market. I got some jicama for 20 cents a pound, just a week ago, and it actually will last pretty good, in the kitchen, like not even in the fridge. Like it'll last easily several weeks before it even goes bad. So the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is, John, why would I want to spend $400 or more on a Kuvings juicer instead of getting an inexpensive juicer that's like $100, $150 on a different website such as Amazon or whatnot? So, here's the thing, you guys get what you pay for. If you want this question answered in explicit detail, click the link down below to a video I made why you probably shouldn't get a $100 juicer from China on Amazon, right? There are pros and cons of buying juicers from China, right? I mean, some of the quick things are you may not know the materials that they're being made of. They may be using things like polycarbonate that contains BPA. Kuvings does not have any BPA in the juicer as far as I'm aware. That's detectable, right? The other thing is that you're going with the major manufacturer. Kuvings is the brand name in wide feed chute juicers, right? If it's a different one that looks like this, it's a knockoff from China. They are infringing on the patent. You may not have warranty support if Kuvings chooses to sue them, and they have to remove the machine off the market. In addition, you know, a lot of the sellers on Amazon, in my opinion, are a little bit sketchy. They're just importing cheap juicers. The company's not even located in the United States. They're using Amazon as a fulfillment warehouse. The company's over in China, so literally you're exporting your money to Chinese nationals over in China when you're buying those inexpensive juicers. Not to say that they don't work, because they could work, and I've actually got some fairly decent Chinese machines, but you know, they creak a little bit more, they're not dialed in, and definitely the motors are not as powerful. I mean, this is a powerful motor. I've been to the factory, and actually Kuvings, unlike many of the other different juicer manufacturers, they actually make their motors in-house, which I thought was quite impressive. I saw them have big copper spools where they're winding the motors and all the different components and making it in the factory where they assemble this very juicer. They're using definitely high quality parts. This machine could run for 30 minutes straight. Some of the inexpensive juicers might only run for 5 or 10 minutes from what I've seen, and you could blow out the motor should you run it longer, right? When I'm juicing, I want something that's going to be dependable. The Kuvings is a dependable machine. It will be there when you need it, right? An inexpensive juicer, who knows if it's going to break tomorrow, the next day, or the next day after that, right? And if you can even get support for it. Kuvings, you'd call their 800 number, and even during these COVID times, Kuvings has had good solid support, unlike some of the other manufacturers that I have been dealing with during the COVID outbreak. I mean, they're there to help you out, to get you fixed up if you should have some kind of defect or challenge with the juicer. And this is something that you're not going to find from simply an Amazon seller that has no phone number to call. Kuvings has an office here in the United States, outside or in Chicago area, that I've visited, and I actually think they just moved to an even nicer office that I'll be visiting soon when I get to announce and share with you guys their new 3-inch wide horizontal feed chute juicer, which is going to be amazing. I'm really waiting for that one. The other thing is the warranty. The Kuvings has a full 10-year warranty. So imagine if your iPhone had a 10-year warranty. You wouldn't have to buy another iPhone in the next 10 years, right? Luckily with juicers, they don't get outdated like iPhones. Juicing technology does not change by leaps and bounds every year. Maybe a few things get a little different or a little better, but it's nothing extraordinary. So it's never a good time to wait till tomorrow or next year's model to get a juicer, because it's not going to be significantly better. And the opportunity cost of waiting is that you're not getting these fresh juices in you that can benefit your health today. You know, and as people are losing their lives from brain aneurysms, from cancer, from all these terrible diseases, you know, in my opinion, a lot of these diseases can be prevented, according to science even, you know, by eating more plant-based foods and getting rid of the junk food, the processed food, and the animal foods in excess that most Americans are eating. Alright, next I want to show you guys how hard it is to clean the juicer. Cleaning a juicer is really not that difficult. It's super easy, super simple. With the Kuvings EVO820 Premium Juicer is even easier when they have this Pulp spout here. The easiest way to do this is, number one, turn the machine on. Number two, you're going to grab about 16 ounces or 2 cups of water. You're going to carefully pour it in the juicer with the spout cap closed. Very important. What's going to happen is the water is going to go ahead and fill up the juicing bowl. You may see some pulp even start to come out of the machine. This will kind of like auto clean the juicer as a first step. I do not recommend only doing this step. You will need to do more than just this step to get your juicer clean. If you only do this step, you're going to have some issues in the long run because you're not getting the juicer properly clean. This will sufficiently kind of get the juicer pre-clean so that when you do go to the next step, it's a lot easier. So once you let this run around for a little bit, the pulp stops flowing out. You can go ahead and turn the machine off, and you can go ahead and open this spout cap. All that water will come out. It's basically just kind of rinsed around and cleaned itself. So you can see this water is kind of like orange colored because of it's pigmented. And now we're going to go ahead and open the machine. So they do provide you that wrench to open the machine, but that should only be used in emergency. The main way to open the machine is you're going to take one hand, you're going to put it down on the top, and you're going to push downward force. So I'm pushing down on this hand. You don't have to do it with 2 hands, but you're pushing down, and as you're pushing down, you can look at the open and close little arrow here. You're going to push down, and then you're going to turn it to the open position. So when you're pushing down and turning it to the open position, it should turn fairly easily. If you're just trying to take your hand and then rotate this, it's not going to easily turn, especially if you're not using the juicer properly and fibers are getting stuck in the machine. So once again, push down. You might need 2 hands because you can push down with your dominant hand and then turn it with the other hand, right? Or maybe if you want to put your hand on it, put it hand here. And actually that's a better technique. Push down here, take this hand, push down on this little part, push down and turn it, and it should come apart very easily. And look at that. When we do, we have a little bit of pulp in there. We'll just need to wash out. I usually just run water through here. No brushing is required, but although I do tend to brush everything with soap, dish soap, and water on a brush to brush everything out. This is imperative to keep your juicer clean, keep it at top performance, because if you get buildup on the auger, some of the different parts, they may not work as well as they used to. Next, we're going to go ahead and pull out this auger. So we could look at this auger. Look at this. This auger is basically virtually clean. If you are juicing carrots, don't be alarmed when the auger will be a kind of a tinge of a turquoise. You might see that a little bit. Completely normal. Use some soap and water on one of the brushes to brush it out. Also, underneath the auger is inset. It's recessed under my auger today. There's very little pulp, but don't be alarmed if there's pulp under the auger. Completely normal. This is kind of like a strain relief there. You know, so that the juicer doesn't back up. Next, we have the juicing screen. Look at how clean that juicing screen is after running the water through there. You know, we have a little bit of pulp on the inside of the juicing screen, and that is the way Kuvings has designed it. I basically just like to take the juicing screen and tap it into my pulp collection bin, and look at that. This screen is almost clean. Now, depending on what you juice, right, there will be pulp like stuck in the screen holes. That's where you got that little tool, the green tool. Put on top and just brush it back and forth. Take that other oversized toothbrush, brush in the inside. You should get really clean quickly and easily. Next, we have the automatic wiping blade. This helps keep the screen clean when you're juicing and kind of flush the juice into the collection cup. And once again, this part is fairly clean. I do recommend using soap and water on a brush and brushing down the silicone blades here. 2 of these are solid plastic, but 2 of them are silicone, both outside and inside, to get it cleaned properly. And then finally we have the juicing bowl, and unlike juicing bowls and other juicers from other companies, look at this juicing bowl. You're not going to find this on any other juicer because Kuvings designed it so that all the pulp is left in the juicing screen so that your juicing bowl is relatively clean. I mean, look at that. This is basically almost clean except for the pulp inside the pulp port here, that I could take my pinky out of and just use a clean sweep and sweep out the pulp inside there. Little bit of pulp is left in there. Then I maybe like to sometimes just tap this down or just blast this through with water. Now, while we're on this part, I want to discuss about, John, there's a hole here in the bottom. Why is this hole here in the bottom of the bowl so much larger than the hole inside the screen here? This hole is basically inside the bottom of the screen that the pulp goes through, and then the hole is larger here. And the question I get sometimes is, John, why did they make this hole in the bottom of the screen larger so it just lets the pulp come through the screen without jamming up the juicer and getting my juicer clogged and jammed? So, here's the thing. Designing a juicer and properly engineering it so that it works properly is very difficult to do. Kuvings has an R&D department, research and development department, that I visited when I visited them over in Korea many years ago. If I remember, I'll put a link down below to that video if it's even online. I don't remember. But they designed this properly so that it works with a smaller hole, because here's the thing. If you enlarge this hole too big, right, it could let produce free flow out, but then what's the cost? The cost is you're going to have the pulp come out, but then you're going to get less juice. So they designed this so that you get the best balance of juice and pulp. Now the other thing is, even if they make this pulp chute larger, it doesn't mean that it's not going to clog up. If you are using the juicer improperly, like not pre-cutting your celery into, I recommend 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch pieces, and other leafy greens in 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch pieces, despite this having a large feed chute, then you're going to run into problems. And it's not the juicer's problem that it has this small size hole, and that's not why it's getting clogged. It's getting clogged because you're not using it properly. Maybe you're putting in things too fast. And you know, this is a slow juicer. You need to give time to work. You need to give time to extract all the juice. And you need it to give time to let the pulp come out before you put more produce in. If you use this machine properly, this machine is a dream. If you don't use this juicer properly, it could be your biggest nightmare. I made a video for a customer that's having some challenges with the Kuvings. I'll put a link down below. How to properly use the Kuvings 3-inch wide feed chute juicer. I want you guys to watch that video. Whether you bought a Kuvings already or whether you're considering buying one, please watch that video to ensure that you're going to do what it takes to get the proper and best performance out of your juicer and have the best results, right? This can go a long way to, you know, help you enjoy your juicing process instead of hating it. But more importantly, if you do not want to do the things that I talk about in these videos, simply don't buy the juicer I'm showing, right? Pros and cons to every machine. So I think I have only 2 more questions that I want to answer in this episode before I have to sign off today and drink the rest of my juice. The next question has to do with, John, can I juice cherry pits in the machine? So Kuvings says anything, any kind of pits or things like that should be removed. So cherry pits, stones out of apricots and peaches, you know, if you're trying to make coconut milk out of coconuts, you got to remove all the shell fragments. Even if you're juicing peaches or mangoes, you got to remove all the pits out of that. And even if you're juicing something like, peaches that are not freestone peaches, they're cling peaches, sometimes it has little shell fragments, and you got to make sure you remove all the shell fragments. Because that a customer the other day basically was juicing peaches. She left a little bit of the shell fragment that got in the machine, and it actually damaged her machine. And unfortunately, that is not covered under warranty if you damage the machine due to putting something in the machine that should not be juiced. Now, something like apple seeds or orange seeds, pear seeds, you know, that's completely fine to juice. It's not going to damage your machine. You know, something like cantaloupe seeds could be juiced, but the challenge is if you're putting cantaloupe seeds in, cantaloupe seeds are soft, so they can be juiced, but because there's so many of them, it will tend to clog the juicer up. Same thing with watermelon seeds. Watermelon seeds generally okay to juice if you're not putting a ton of watermelon seeds in at a time. Otherwise, it may clog up the collection port as the Kuvings will basically grind up the seeds into like a sawdust, and it actually jam up the port. So you have to pay attention when you're juicing. I don't want you to just go on autopilot when you're juicing. You always got to be watching and listening, hearing the produce as it's being ground up. Add more when it's done grinding, and you want to always make sure pulp is flowing out the pulp ejection port. If the pulp stops flowing out the pulp ejection port, you may have an issue. You may want to stop and turn off the machine, disassemble it to see kind of what's going on, and over time you will learn, you know, the best ways to operate the juicer. Now, the last question I want to cover today for you guys is, what else can this juicer do besides just make juice? This can make fruit juice, this can make vegetable juices, this can make your celery juice if you want to get on the medical medium program. This also can make the smoothies like I showed you guys, you know, with the Smoothie Attachment, and it also can make the sorbets with the frozen fruits, right? And that's pretty much the extent of this juicer. This could also make the nut milks. You know, I have shown how to make nut milks on this machine. The easiest way is to soak almonds and pour almonds with the water through the machine at the same time to make an almond milk, although that's not the way I recommend to do that. I recommend to soak your almonds, pour off the soak water, and then blend those almonds up and then pour the mixture through the juicer. You're going to get a lot more richer almond milk than simply trying to juice whole almonds in the machine, and you don't have enough contact time with the auger and the grinding mechanism to extract all the rich, delicious nutrition as well as fats out of the almonds. So that's basically it. So you got juicing, you got frozen fruit sorbets to get you guys off the ice cream, you got nut milks, and you got smoothies with this machine, and that's basically what you're going to get. Oh, and I forgot to mention, actually, they include a nice recipe book with the Kuvings juicer, nicer than any of the recipe book that is included with any juicer, to get you on track and give you some ideas about the different tasks that this juicer can do. So if you guys enjoyed this episode about the Kuvings EVO820 Rose Gold and answering your guys' juicing questions, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Also, please be sure to share this video with somebody else that you can help educate about juicing and juicers. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on my new upcoming episodes that come out about every 5 to 7 days. You never know where I'll show up, what you'll be learning on my YouTube channel. Maybe I'll be comparing two juicers. Maybe I'll be doing that citrus test with the juicer versus the citrus attachment on the Kuvings. You know, you never know what I'll be showing with you guys, and it is always valuable and informational. Also, be sure to click the little bell so you get notified as many videos come out. And finally, be sure to check my past episodes. My past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 500 episodes at this time on this YouTube channel dedicated to teach you guys all about the different juicers, vacuum blenders, as well as other appliances that allow you to eat more fruits and vegetables, which are the healthiest foods on the planet based on my research and according to some of the science that is out there. Finally, I want to encourage you guys to make your purchase at discountjuicers.com. If you are looking for a juicer, I have a link down below to the rose gold color juicer in the comments down below, as well as the description that allows me to continue and allows me to make these videos for you guys to educate the public about juicing and juicers, since I have been juicing straight now for the last 25 years, and it does make a difference in my opinion. I've heard so many testimonials from many different customers on how it's helped them with many different conditions or health opportunities they're currently have an opportunity with. All right, so with that, my name is John Kohler with discountjuicers.com. Be sure to visit discountjuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.